Ready? We ready? We are going to have everyone gather around closer. Try and make it a little more intimate this evening. So here we are again. July 10th, 2021. Anyone remember that day? Anybody? That's the last time we were here. Okay, for Who Am I? A Poetic Journey for My Children. And that was on behalf of this amazing, talented, young author, Todd Fredrick Hunter. Here we are again. Now, on this date, 26th day of November, 2022, for I Love Our Rhythm, so F the blues. By the way, how is everyone? We're really glad that you could come. You will be inspired. You will be enlightened. There are some wonderful surprises along the path. We have wonderful people here, family, friends. Todd's sons are here. I even saw Alan Manley. Is Alan still here? Anywhere? He might have stepped away for a moment, but I'm sure he'll return. So, I'm not going to belabor long, but I always try and start with something poetic myself. Is anyone familiar with If by Rudyard Kipling? I know you are. I know you are, Chris. And Rudyard Kipling, in his brilliance, talks about, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. And it speaks of humility in such a deep way that it's the first thing that came to mind when I thought about this young man here. His journey talks about where we started as a people years ago and why we are who we are and where we need to go. And this is the blueprint right here. And when you read it, you'll understand everything that I've just told you, and then some. So without further ado, I would really love to welcome this young man so that he can tell you more about the details in his wonderful writing. Todd Fredrick Hunter.
Thank you. First, I want to thank my mom and my kids and everyone for coming out. I really, really appreciate you coming out. I've been a school counselor for several years, and it's always been in my heart to give back. I've always been a positive young man and a man, but life journey causes one to become jaded. So there was times when I became jaded through marriage, through game plan and relationships and things like that. And when my daughter passed in 2018, I had to go through therapy. And the first thing they made me do was go back and look back at my history when I was growing up. So my issues, maybe I had with my mom, my dad, my brothers, my friends, and things like that. And I learned a lot of things about myself. And so I learned a lot of things about myself, and I wondered, how does this affect our relationships? How has this affected my relationships? So a lot of times they don't teach us what happened before we got here on the slave ships, But what we have learned, and all of us have experienced, is what has happened to us since the slave ship arrived here. So that's where my book starts. All right? Go ahead, bro. When I look back over my history, I've often wondered how the trauma of slavery has manifested itself within our cultural journey since the first slave ship arrived in 1619. I wonder how it has affected me and my experience with black love. Over 15 years ago, Justin Timberlake brought sexy back. Today, I'm bringing black love back. I believe the way that I need to approach doing this is by exploring love, relationships, and how we treat one another, then tell it like it is from a man's perspective. I understand that love does not come with a playbook or instructions, but somehow we're supposed to know how to recognize it and know how to participate in it without any prior knowledge or instruction. It is my hope and prayer that I love our rhythm, so fuck the blues, take you on a fantastic journey, become a helpful tool to assist everyone in restoring black love.
All right now.
See, I often tell the kids that I counsel to imagine driving a car with no headlights and no streetlights. It's pitch black outside, and you are trying to navigate through life to get to where I am. I'm 56, so there's a 40-year difference in life experiences that I've lived and have seen my way through. I tell them that I am their headlights to help them see what is in front of them, to help them navigate out of the darkness. I'm here to help them understand how the decisions will dictate the way they live their lives tomorrow. I'm here to help them navigate through the difficult terrain. I often wonder if the same kids look at us and they see how we are living our lives and determine through watching us that there is nothing to live for, and that's why they don't care about dying young. Although I counsel kids for a living, each and every adult advises our children as well. We can advise a child to do well or not to do well through what they see or do, hear us say, and how we respond to the same verbal and nonverbal stimuli. Kids can add as well. They will eventually put 2 and 2 together and figure it out on their own. And if you are doing wrong, how can you honestly tell your kids in good conscience not to do the same things that you are doing? There was a video on Facebook where a man said, every morning you wake up with a chance and a choice. That really resonated with me because it truly defines who I am as a man and what I stood for all my life. I'm a good man with a good heart, born into a hateful world where the color of my skin came with instructions, Willie Lynch's instructions. These are the white man's instructions on how I should act, talk, walk, live, and love in this skin. I really didn't have a say in it until now, but every day that I wake up, I still have a choice and a chance to change that. From the time that I was a child until I was a young man, I watched adults and the things they did and said. When I tried to emulate them, they always told me to stay in the kid's place. Fast forward, it's 45 years, and you no longer hear them. Kids today have no boundaries, no discipline, no pride, and definitely no respect. I've been that kid who did stupid things, and I know adults who are doing stupid things. But when I was a child, adults never let us kids see them do these things. I don't know if that was right or wrong, but I believe it. Still left us with a choice. I don't believe we do that as parents anymore. You can't expect a kid to clean this room when yours is never clean. Just like you can't expect your kid to be good with money just because you work at a bank. But you can expect them to have some idea of money and how to clean their rooms if you teach them. Let me just say this. Kids these days aren't falling for the do as I say and not as I do bullshit. Our parents told us we need to teach them what respect means by example, by first respecting ourselves and our children's childhood. That's why I keep it 100 with my kids and the kids that I counsel. I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. And I say it with a purpose. That purpose is what drives me every day to be a better man for my kids and anyone that is watching. My goal is to be an ever-evolving man, to be a loving man that will never give up on finding true love of self, true love of my people, and true love of the woman the true love of my people and true love of the woman with whom I will spend the rest of my days. I also want to make a difference in the child's life, but it's difficult to teach a kid certain things at school when it's not reinforced at home. And if there's no love at home, it will be very difficult to find love in that child's life. I am sick and tired of seeing those kids act out on how they feel inside because they have no one to love them and protect them. So their hearts are full of pain. They experience a hell of a lot of death at a young age, and that can be traumatic. So they learn how to cope and protect themselves, and when they do that, they're hypersensitive to any stimuli that changes them. Our children are the main reason I want to bring love back to the forefront of our lives, our community, and our relationships with each other. I want our elders to be able to reach out for a helping hand, and there's another black hand right there to help them get through challenging times. I want us to learn how to love ourselves so that we can spread that love all day, every day. Won't you join me on my quest to bring black love back? Join me in bringing the black family structure back. Will you join me in bringing the father figure back into our homes and help our children heal? Will you join me on my quest to heal and be healed from my ancestors' pain that's been passed down from generation to generation, all the way down to you, right here, right now. Even more, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me tonight on this fantastic voyage. Let me first say that this has been a very beautiful day in many beautiful ways. I wrote my ass off today. And may I say, I'm writing it my way, telling it my way, and doing it my way. The first thing that I would like to say is visit your deepest thoughts as much as you can every single day. Therefore, I assure you in every way that my deepest thoughts are about us today. That's pretty much every day. I constantly look for a way to have a better day to provide us all with a better way. Therefore, and forevermore, I will underscore how my connection to you will be forevermore. You can keep score, and if you lose, go somewhere else and cry the blues, because we out here making grown folks moves. Hear ye, come one, come all. Stand up straight, make death wait, and stand tall as long as you can. Be that strong-ass generational man on a journey to increase his people over his lifespan. Damn, what a respectable black man he shall be. And what a respectable black man needs is a respectable black woman that will help stop the bleeding. Don't show him that type of love until he shows you that type of ring or any type of thing that lets you know he includes you in everything. A toast to everything that you bring to the table that makes me able to do what I do to include you, increase you, love you, and promote you. So we can be all about ourselves and even more about us, because our common thread is trust and a whole lot of love and lust for each other. This is information I did not get for free. I paid for all my mistakes dearly. Experience is the best teacher. My music and writings are the only way I know how to reach you. So come along, follow me on this fantastic voyage to set black love free from misery and the chains locking our minds. Don't you think it's about damn time? All right. Historically translates into our daily lives. Imagine how hundreds of years of hate and disgust on such a monumental level translates into our cultural identity, our self-awareness, our self-image, our self-love, and our inability to love ourselves and each other. Our everyday lives have been affected by our identity, self-worth, and how the world has treated us and defined us. I believe that negative attitudes towards us is the same negative attitudes that we have towards ourselves, and that's played a major role in how we respond to each other. Over the years, I've listened to thousands of people's life experiences. I've watched the world around me and paid close attention to my own life experiences. And what I've discovered is that life is difficult for black people, but I still have hope. And I prayed for a very long time that one day I would have the fortitude, intuitive understanding, and the blessings from above to be able to speak to all of my people about black love. Good evening. My name is Todd Fredrick Sr. And let me first say, it's an honor, a pleasure, and a blessing to be able to speak to all of you today and to speak to you about what we've all been through. Those who are not here will be unclear because some things take you to a different atmosphere. An atmosphere where experience is the only teacher here. Yes, right here with all of you, including me, is a place we never asked to be. Now look around the room. Who is worthy of jumping the broom? Are you on solid ground? What did you find? What have you found? Are you in good company? Company that's profound. Now let's look at the person next to you. Look at me. Look back at you. What's the first thing you have in common? That would be the color of our skin. Now look again. Do you see loving black women and loving black men? Do you see an enemy or do you see a friend? Are we embracing us or are we pushing each other away? Are we working on black love or just praying for it to somehow appear one day? Do we have love in our hearts for one another? If we do, then why do we call each other sister and or brother, then turn around and harm each other? Is it out of anger, self-hate, and or fear? And Lord, have mercy. If we don't know you and no one from our crew knows you, then fuck you and your whole entire crew. Because that's what we do to people who look just like me and you. Don't be light-skinned or dark-skinned, because dark-skinned and light-skinned act more like enemies than friends.
House nigga versus field nigga. Now our skin color is our own hate trigger. Thanks to Willie Lynch, we're still some slave niggas. Doing what slaves supposed to do, hate themselves. Now look at me, and look at you. It's okay if you don't agree with me, but it's still our truth. They say God will make a way. Are we making excuses or are we working harder to make it happen like we needed it yesterday? Don't get me wrong, we still have to pray, but we must do something about black love, and there's no reason why we can't start today. By talking about the things that make us tick, talk, and walk a certain way. So let me talk and you listen. Close your eyes and imagine all of us taking a walk down a beautiful brick sidewalk next to a body of water, kind of like a pond. Now imagine on the other side of that pond, you see all the way back to our past. Imagine the scene looks like a drive-in movie screen as you watch the white line arrive on the U.S. shore, docking in Virginia in 1619, way before Martin had a dream, and when by any means necessary, became our true thing. This is the year slavery began, so let us explore the very moment our spirits became poor. Now imagine our ancestors' dreams becoming nightmares. Who's that creeping up the stairs? Max is going into Mama's room. She started to scream, suddenly stopped screaming and started crying when Master left the room. Can you imagine how hard it was to jump a broom when you know Master will be back to visit your wife real soon? While your kids are breaking their backs in the field and his kids with your wife are in the house serving dinner and pushing brooms. That's probably the reason why we have dark skin versus light skin, because Massa never wanted them to be friends in the first place. To them, dark skin is a disgrace, and the reason dark skin doesn't fit in. That's why they can't. They change the rules to inject the blues every time dark skin is about to win. More than 300 years later, we want them to say again and again, that bitch thinks she's privileged, or that bitch thinks she's cute. I'm not trying to start no shit with anyone. I just think we need to get to the root of the problem. And problems can't be solved if you don't know where they came from. No more playing coy or acting dumb. We need to repair the damage that has been done. Black love, here we come. My brothers, my fellas, gentlemen, and my cats, not a single person wants to wear your African-American Black history hat. As you gaze into the screen, you see your ancestors being tortured. It's so bad you can feel the screams raise the goosebumps on your skin. We're watching this traumatic experience of black men. Here's what that means. Shh. Be quiet. Pay attention to this next scene. Focus your eyes on the virtual screen. They took the strongest slave among them and tied each leg to a horse, facing in opposite directions. Then Master said, this is how you strong niggas and everybody that want to be like him get taught a lesson. Master smacked each horse on the ass. The horse ran in opposite directions. They pulled the strongest man apart and tore him in half. Our ancestors were traumatized, while Master and his people laughed. The most traumatized became the overseer of the rest of the slave group, telling your ass in the New York minute because he no longer wanted to be treated like you. Master's right-hand man listens to you all the time, so he can tell all your plans and use a whip to crack your spine. He's called an informant and a hater now, because whenever you got strong, he spies on you from Master and puts wiretaps on your phones. He does this so we would get into Master's will. To turn on ourselves was his plan. That's why we shoot to kill ourselves on stolen land. We are still slave niggas because we hate each other. We don't have a plan to take a stand. In order for black love to exist, black men must respect black men. Black women must respect black women. Black men must love black women. Black women must love black men, so that black men and black women can take an undivided stand.
All right now.
And this is Diane Russell. This is my editor. She edited my book. When I first gave it to her, I gave her like 120 some pages. She's like, nope. Explain this, explain that, and explain this. This is how this book got so damn thick. All right? Because I was trying to keep it around 20 chapters. But she was like, I had a timeline, I had everything, and I was gonna get it done. And I didn't get it. So I didn't get it done. She told me, just be patient and get it done when you can. Like, let's just take your time with it. And that's what I did. And when I wrote this next poem, it's called Excuse Me, Miss. We were together We were together in our 20s. We broke up. She got married, I got married. And we got back together. And then that was like the toughest time we'd ever been. I had never been in a tough time with anybody like I'd been with her. Then my daughter died. After my daughter died, you know, a lot of people don't stay together after they lose a child. And we did. We broke up. We broke up. She went back and she healed herself. And just like I said, you know, when you got to go to the root of your problems to find out why you're not getting the things that you want in life. She did that. I moved to Omaha, Nebraska. I'm a school counselor in Omaha, Nebraska. I'm a girls track coach. Years later, she had this box. And she texted me with my kids' pictures in it. My daughter who passed, she said, "You want this?" Yeah, we had been arguing, fighting, and all this stuff. And I said, "How are you doing today?" And she answered, and we have not stopped talking since. And one thing that we found out by reading this book is that one thing she called me on the phone and she said, "Todd, I'm sorry because I haven't been listening to you. Because you've been putting this book, and as I've been editing this book, I'm sorry, I have not been listening to you. I got to listen to you." And when she started listening to me, that was the first time any woman in my life, except my mama, except my mama, that has ever told me, "I'm sorry, I didn't listen to you." So, when we got back together, I didn't know who she was because she was a whole different version of the person that we broke up. We broke up together. She was a whole different person. And I was a whole different person. So when I wrote this poem, we had gotten back together. So when I wrote it like we were our new selves. And she was in a cafe, and I was in a cafe, and I was looking at her going through all the shit that she told me she was going through, and while I was thinking about all the shit I was going through. And so let me go on, I'm gonna just go through it so y'all can understand. Go ahead. And I've grown so much as a human being that I had to share it with as many people as possible. I realized since my daughter's death in grief therapy that we have to stop hurting each other by first dealing with our own pain, so that we do not project what we feel inside onto people we claim we love. I love my people, and everything I do and say is to honor them so that we can honor one another. But first we must take a step back to heal individually, then collectively. We then must learn how to love ourselves to truly understand our self-worth, our purpose, and the role we have played in the demise of black love, as well as the role that we are going to play in the resurrection of black love. I didn't realize how much my past affected my relationships, the decisions that I made, and the behaviors that I displayed my entire life. It was a total mindfuck when I started to learn about the origin of my issues and why I'm not with the yin to my yang. I really want to do better. I really want us to do better. I want us to talk to each other with the same tone and energy we had when we first met. I want us to work through our differences. I want us to communicate with each other so that I can understand her and she can understand me. I want us to be together to share in the purest form of black love. But first, she must work on herself and must work on me. And until then, I will work on myself daily. So when I'm ready, I will have no problem walking up to the woman of my dreams and saying, "Excuse me, miss. Excuse me, miss. I really want to know your name. And if I don't know, how can we share my last name? I can never live with myself letting this chance slip by. I will forever have to convince myself that you and I can never be, because that would be a lie and a loss for me and maybe you. So why would I deny the pleasure of stopping by to ask you your name and the opportunity to get to know you? Who knows? I hope I do. Hope my life will never be the same if names and numbers are exchanged. I can listen and talk to you. Go for a walk in the park as I get to know you. Learn all about you and what you've been through. I imagine in my mind as I sit across from you. I watch how the pain in your eyes really expresses all that you've been through. I don't even know you, but I empathize with you. The pain in your face radiates through my core. I wish I had the power to move your pain forevermore. Replace it with peace, love, fun, and excitement. To remove all your life's resentments, pent up, built up, held up for an emotional decline.
I wonder what really is behind those tears and what's really on your mind. So I stand up, I fix my clothes, and start walking away, thinking to myself, what will I say? I smile at you as you look my way. You smile back. How beautiful is that? I tip my hat and say, have a nice day, because today is not that day to walk up to you and tell you what I really have on my mind. I pray I see you when God stops. I pray that you heal and I do too. And when the right time comes, you'll be ready for me and I'll be ready for you. Until then, I hope you pray for me like I've been praying for you. So one day I can say, excuse me, miss, I watch you come in here every day, and I never knew what to say, help your tears away, wipe your tears away. So all I can do is pray for you and your healing every day, and hope for the day that I can say you've weathered the storm. Crying across from me is no longer your norm. I watched you smile the other day as the cutest little kid slipped your way. Something told me. Maybe it was God that told me today is the day. So here I am before you, healed and ready to reveal the deepest part of me to you. My name is Todd William Fredrick, and it's a pleasure.
Excuse me, miss, I just wanna know how far your passion and your love flows. I know you ain't the wild man. I wanna change that in your last name. I wanna live a life of luxury. That's why I want you right beside me. I've been through hell, no more days alone. Alone where we together we're strong.
That's right, take that one off. No. I swear. I guess I should say yes.
I'm done playing games, y'all.
Congratulations to the future Mr. and Mrs. Todd William Fredrick Hunter.
Hey, so I'm gonna sign the books over here. What y'all about to hear? So my music, my book, I wrote first I produced music. So all the music you heard, I produced. So the music that you're about to hear, I produced the music. And so how I wrote this process, I produced the music, I wrote the poetry, then I wrote the book. So each chapter that you're gonna hear, that in the books that you hear while I'm signing books, it's a title in my book. So the song that you're about to hear is called I Love Our Rhythm, So Fuck the Blues. So I wrote that, and so when I wrote that chapter, I took the instrumental part of the song and I wrote everything in that chapter to the instrumental of that song. And I did that through the whole book. So each chapter that I wrote was wrote to an instrumental song that I wrote. So pretty much all of my songs, all of my chapters has a poem to it, and the poem has a song to it. So eventually, I'm working on my next project is to turn this into an audio book. So it'll be an audio book, so just like I was reading to all of you, and then you'll hear the song, so it'll go into my poetry, just like it's about to do now. Go ahead, bro. All right, we're going over here. Thank y'all.
It's nice, man. Nice concept.
So this is back. Folks should do black we ain't what we meant to do to set black love free. Let's get back together like people. Put some style up. Make that shit real sweat. Shout out to my homegirl, Shelly, real pretty. We go way back to the 1040 studio. Much respect for my homeboy. They call him Dooley. Shout
Remember Dooley?
Yeah. Shout out to my homeboy. They call him Dooley.
Dooley.
Right.